This week, a series of violent attacks rocks the city's subway system.
If you commit a crime, these guys at the NYPD are going to find you and put you in prison.
Plus, a dog fatally stabbed in Central Park.
The details of the story are kind of nightmarish.
And a little boy left fighting for his life after being hit by an e-scooter. Right now, Fox 5's Crime in the City. Here are the crimes across the 5 boroughs. We start things off this week on the Upper East Side, and the arrest of a man wanted for a series of random subway slashings.
The NYPD just announced that arrest. Antoine, what do we know about the suspect?
Natasha, we can tell you that the suspect has had prior arrests outside of New York. Police also say he did not know any of his victims.
28-year-old Kamal Rideout is facing 3 counts of first-degree assault for a string of unprovoked subway slashings over the weekend. Police say on Sunday afternoon, Rideout slashed 2 women on the leg inside the subway station at 86th and Lexington Avenue. Police say he then rode the train south to the Brooklyn Bridge stop and slashed a 3rd woman on her leg. During Tuesday's briefing, police say these NYPD transit officers were on patrol looking for the suspect, and they found him.
This morning at approximately 9:45 a.m., less than 48 hours since the slashings occurred, these officers, armed with the suspect's photo, observed him walking down an Upper Manhattan street and apprehended him.
Police also gave more details about Monday's arrest of Claude White in connection with the murder of 32-year-old Tavon Silver. Authorities say Silver died after being stabbed in the chest early Saturday morning following a verbal dispute on board a 4 train at Union Square. The NYPD says White's arrest Monday morning happened after he was stopped for turnstile jumping at the Lexington Avenue 125th Street station. He was arrested by transit officers, the same NYPD transit officers who arrested the subway slashing suspect.
We are not naive, and we do not have our heads in the sand. We recognize the work that's got to get done and continue to get done, but it's important that the public knows that the men and women in the NYPD are out there each and every day working very, very hard and smart for their safety.
I'm going to keep saying it. If you commit a crime or attack our riders on the MTA system, you're going to be caught on camera, and these guys at the NYPD are going to find you and put you in prison.
Claude White, again, has been charged with murder. Kamal Rideout, 3 counts of first-degree assault. Stephen, police say this simply boiled down to good old-fashioned detective work, and they absolutely were armed with those images from inside the subway station.
Uptown in East Harlem, a little boy is struck by an e-scooter in a park, leaving him critically injured.
Henry Diaz, this smiling 6-year-old, is now fighting for his life.
Before I came back home, he opened his eye, which is good. I feel more relieved about it because yesterday it was worse. It was worse.
On Sunday evening around 6:30 inside Thomas Jefferson Park in East Harlem, Henry was hit by an electric vehicle the NYPD says was similar to a moped. Paramedics rushed him to the hospital with severe head trauma. He remains in critical condition. Police have released these images of the person and e-vehicle they say hit Henry. Authorities say he initially stayed on scene after the accident, but took off before the police arrived.
I'm angry, and I'm sad as well for my son. I'm angry because of the guy who did this to him, and I'm sad because he's in the hospital. Everything happened fast.
The accident comes ahead of a new pilot program set to begin on Tuesday, where e-bikes and e-scooters under 100 pounds will be allowed to drive along park drives and greenways inside select city parks. Pedestrian pathways will be prohibited. Thomas Jefferson Park will be part of the program, which will last until May of next year. Nareda has already formed her opinion.
Honestly, I would say that's a problem, especially when they shouldn't be riding that motorcycle in the park where our kids, when kids are playing around, In weekends, they like to make little parties around the park, and there's a lot of families, kids, and they should have been doing that, like riding that thing in there.
Then in Central Park, a rescue dog is fatally stabbed right in front of its owners.
A lot of people reacting to this, especially dog owners. According to the NYPD, it happened here in Central Park around 8:30 last night. We're by East 106th and 5th Avenue. Police say it started with a verbal dispute. According to detectives, the aggressor was walking several unleashed dogs. A 43-year-old female dog owner told police that the verbal dispute ended with the aggressor stabbing her dog. The canine was taken to an animal clinic, we're told, and had to be euthanized.
It's a crazy story. I can't believe it happened, and the details of the story are kind of nightmarish.
It's frightening, it's scary.
That's New York.
So you're not too surprised?
No, I live in Harlem. Stabbings is something that happens every day.
So then they had to bring the dog to the vet and the dog had to get euthanized.
It's unfortunate.
According to the NYPD, after this happened, the aggressor took off.
Heading back downtown, yet another act of vandalism targets pride flags at the Stonewall National Monument.
There were 2 prior incidents at the Stonewall Monument. This past Thursday, 10 flags were torn down. Police say that incident specifically targeted transgender flags. And last weekend, multiple pride flags in the same location were damaged. No arrests as of yet in any of these recent incidents. And now tonight, we're learning about yet another case at the historic Stonewall Monument Park. Volunteers found nearly 70 flags damaged, and as Fox 5's Ashley Rodriguez shows us, they believe it was a targeted attack of hate.
Stephen Menendez picks up broken pride flags from the ground of the Stonewall National Monument. As a park volunteer, it's his job to maintain the 250 flags flying around the park's perimeter. 3 weeks into Pride Month, Sunday morning, he was not expecting to find a fourth of the flags snapped in half.
It's just disappointing to come in and see it again. This is 3 times over 7 days.
When we arrived, police were on scene, but there's little they can do other than to check if neighboring shops have cameras. Park volunteers are relying on the existence of only 1 camera guarding the front of the park, and they argue the city needs to put up more. That way, if people choose to vandalize the park, they know they're being watched.
We'll always have that reminder that there will continue to be those who don't support LGBTQ rights. It's upsetting, sad, and concerning that we have to see it in one of the heart of where our rights was born and continues to grow.
It's not yet clear if this was the work of the drunk and disorderly or a targeted effort to vandalize a historic gay monument. But park goers observing Menendez replacing the flags argued about how to react.
I feel like as a transgender that this is too much in your face. I want an American flag. This is America. This isn't LGBT country.
The divisiveness among passerbys Sunday, just a small example of the underlying reason behind now a 3rd instance of vandalism at Stonewall Monument.
We have so much anger and hatred in the air right now. We really need to reverse that and replace it with love, compassion, and acceptance.
Even if police can get their hands on video, there's no guarantee that they're going to be able to ID whoever did this. They're going to continue to investigate, and we will keep you updated.
Next, on the Upper West Side, the search is on for a serial groping suspect.
Police also searching for the suspect in connection to a string of robberies across the city. The man is accused of several different robberies throughout the month of June, including 3 yesterday in Midtown. In one of yesterday's attacks, the victim was standing on Madison Avenue when police say the suspect approached him and pressed a knife to his stomach. They say that suspect then snatched the victim's necklace before fleeing on foot. If you recognize the man on your screen, call Crime Stoppers. That number 800-577-TIPS.
And finally, we visit Midtown Manhattan and the latest scene in a series of shocking robberies.
Police are looking for the suspect wanted in 2 forcible touching attacks in Manhattan. Police say around 8 o'clock last night, Thursday, a man walked up to a 26-year-old woman who was standing on the platform on the West 103rd Street subway station on the Upper West Side. Police say he put his hand up her skirt and grabbed her. Police believe it's the same suspect in a similar attack that happened back on November the 3rd at the Wall Street subway station. If you recognize this person, please call Crime Stoppers. That number is 1-800-577-TIPS.
And that's this week's Crime in the City. Subscribe for more at youtube.com/Fox5NY.